right, let's go ahead and get started. If you are still at where we were, our three files are open. Otherwise, you're going to need to open them. They will show up in your recents, especially if you're working from home. If you're working in the same session from campus, it should show up here also. You can also go to File Open, find the directory. I'm just going to go the long way just so that we get used to it. So Graphic Design 1, Homework, and Illustrator in class. And I'm going to start with, let's just start with the starting out. That one makes the most sense to start with. So this one is pretty self-explanatory. So what we're going to want to do is recreate the two squares, the line, the circle, and the dog. All right, so we have our layers locked. Let's just make sure layer 1's locked, so we're working on layer 2. Let's go ahead and get started on this. First things first, we see the square, so let's go ahead, line it up, hold down that shift key so it constrains. There's our first. Now you can make these any color you want. You can have strokes, you don't have to have strokes, you can make them fancy. As long as it's echoing the shape as close as possible, that is more what I am worried about for these. And again, you can go corner to corner, hold that shift key down, and change it to whatever color you want. Let's make it more of a purple so it looks a little different. All right, we're going to do the same thing with the line. And this is just similar to what we were doing in the last project, but it's getting us used to our tools in a more systematic manner, because a lot of the times, and I'm just going to zoom in so I can see what thickness this is. For the stroke, you can go up, with their pre-arranged sizes when you use the drop down, that works, or you can just activate it and use your up arrow and try to get it exactly where it is. I did notice when I was making it, it was a little bit higher, so if this is the stage you want to get fiddly, I'm going to do a free transform and just slide it down so it perfectly matches. And I'm going to Command 0, zoom out. And then I'll use my Command spacebar to zoom in here at the bottom. Okay, that's looking pretty decent. And then we can go ahead and move on to our circle. So it's just getting us to remember where are all of our tools. Now at the circle, I would sort of try to eyeball the center point. And then when you hold down your shift and your option, it's going to draw from the center out. And this is going to get a little bit closer. And I'm just going to take the fill or the stroke off so I can see what I'm doing. Oops, let's flip these to none. That way I can get it as close as possible. When that happens, you just hit your command first, so don't worry about that. All right, it needed to be a little bit bigger. Go to your free transform, scoot it out just a little bit more. I think I have my, if this happens, go to your snap to points and make sure that's off. I think something, there it is. It was snapping to other ones, so it didn't quite want to do the right one. All right, that's looking pretty good. And I'm going to go just a little bit further. That way you get used to doing the right shapes with that. This is, the ones here, bump, 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 are similar to how, like, if we were making that 2-inch by 2-inch, 2-inch by 2-inch, it's getting us used to replicating the same shapes and scales as other objects. So we have our line, we have our two squares, and we have our circle. Some of you I saw were putting the pear here. I'm okay with that also. If you do that system, just make sure that layer is locked also. So the pear would fit perfectly there. I'm fine with that. All right, I'm just going to shrink that so I can see the dog. Same dealio as where you start is where you end, so you sort of have to plan that out. I am going to do the tear off for this. Everyone works at different speeds. You're earlier on your adventures with this. I'm going to flip this so that I don't have a stroke, a fill rather. So just go at your pace. Remember, if it hiccups, because that did hiccup, I'm not worrying about it. I'm just going to keep going. And I'm just going to do this super quick, and it's not going to be accurate. I would go in and really finesse and refine this. But for demo's sake, because I would do this really slow, boom, just keep going. Then you could go back later and refine it. So this project is just getting you one a little bit more comfortable with the pen tool, and also, you know, navigating where you start, where you end, straights to curves, etc. So, and also so that you don't get that sewing machine sound when you're working. You want to pre-plan, get it out from there. All right. I'm just gonna keep going. As you can see, those are little click drags. I'd have to fix that part for sure. All right, and I sort of go with the midpoint of the curve. It's sort of like when you drive and you decelerate at the start of the curve and then you accelerate a bit at the end of it. That's basically what's happening with this tool. Go to your direct select, and then we can start fiddling with these. So this is why I said I think where people get a little panicky with it, because it's not doing it exactly how people want it. You just have to go back in and massage it. So like, remember, these handles can work separately, so you can get one going in one direction, one in another. All right, I'm just going to pull this one down just a little bit. I must have this, I have the snap on this somewhere here also. Let me just find which one's snapping. Ah, there it is. You're not going to snap to the grid. For this one, we don't want it to really snap. It is still snapping somewhere. I'm not going to worry about it now. I'm just going to go in and start getting these right. So the pen tool is sort of two parts. You create and then you go back in and you refine and finesse it just a little bit. So that point might actually not be needed. Let's see. Yep, it works better without it. So you can get rid of them, and that's why I keep this up, so I can sort of make those decisions as I go. Maybe you need to add more. Maybe you need to take some away. I don't want to make that too big. I think this one needs to be a little bigger. So you just got to get used to how those handles work. And you're trying to get it as close as possible. I am going to say this is just your first exercise with the pen tool. I don't think I would, you know, get overly panicky over this. Just get it the best you can right now. The pen tool is going to be one of those, if you get into design, a tool that you work with forever and ever. So this is just your day one with it. So don't expect it. One, there is no such thing as perfection, and two, don't expect perfection the first time you do something. This is a practice. Remember, this is called an exercise, and you're going to just get credit on, you know, did you try your hardest with this? You know, does it look like you understood the basic principles of this? And then each project we do is just going to keep building on each other. So, you know, if you have the perfection bug, I would sort of turn it down just a little bit for this one so that you can just get used to practicing with it. It just, you have to practice. It's just like playing an instrument. You gotta do those scales before you do your concertos. So, all right, so you can see this one's gonna need a little bit of a curve. I missed that part. Pull the handle out so we need it just that little bit there. All right, go back to the direct select, which is A. A is your direct, V is your regular. So do definitely get used to those. All right. And it's almost done-ish. That one's probably going to need to turn a little bit more. Now this one, I'm going to guess we need one more. So we're going to add a point. Oops. And when this happens, I always say don't show again. It just means I didn't click on the actual path properly. And I'm going to go to my convert just so I know that it's a little curvier rather than straight. And go to my direct. All right, I would probably pull that one over more, but overall that's looking pretty good. I'm going to switch these so the stroke has none and the fill has a color, so that you can tell which is which. So the starting out, we're working with circles, squares, lines, and getting used to that pen tool. You can add the pair if you want to. When you are finished, we are going to save, and that was Command S. But then we're going to do one extra step. So when you just do a regular save, we want to see the .ai. Always keep the native file, it's called. So the native file is your original file. This is the one that you can change later down the line should you want to on a project. This one's yours. This one, if we were the client doesn't get this one unless it's part of the contract. This is the one you're working out of. They get the ones that you export, whether it be a PDF, EPS, or JPEG. Sometimes it's all three. For the majority of this class, we're going to be exporting or saving as, depending on which part, which program you're in. Each has a different way of doing it. We're going to export or save as a PDF. So you're basically going to have two files of the same project. One is this original, the native that has the extension of the program, in this case .ai. We want the PDF. So we're going to go to File, and in Illustrator, it's actually under the Save As. So what we're going to do, instead of having the format of Adobe Illustrator, so you can see starting out writing .ai, I'm going to click here, and what we're going to go for instead is a .pdf. All right, we're going to hit Save. Yep, these look great. For now, we don't worry about those settings. All right, I'm going to close, Command W the file, and we're going to go into our folder, homework, yay. All right, there it is, starting out .ai and .pdf. Now, I'm going to go into Blackboard, which I have up here somewhere. All right, so let's say we are going to do our submission. Because remember we said there was the download area and the submission area. I'm going to preface this by saying my side looks totally different than yours. So you're going to see something slightly different, but I can at least get you there. You're going to go to Course Materials, Unit 1. In this case, this was the starting out one. We're going to click on that. All right, here it is. Assignment submission. You could write a submission, which we're not. We're attaching our submission. So you want to attach files. Browse your computer, go to your thumb drive, you guessed it, your class, your homework, yay, and then there it is, .pdf. Please make sure it is the .pdf. I do deduct points for this because when we send it to a client, it has to be as a PDF. So I like to get you guys practice early on into the right modality for this. So PDF is what we are going to upload. And then we would go ahead and hit choose. All right. I can't do anything because I'm in a teacher role. You could add a comment if you wanted. Some of them, like you might have a, I'm not sure why this color's turning out this way because it didn't look that way on my screen. I wouldn't sweat that part too much. This is more like if we have a web class and you need to put the URL down here. This is usually where I have you do that. And then you would go ahead and hit submit. And that's it. That's how you upload a class assignment. So we're going to do all three of these. Then you're going to save them out each as a PDF. And then you're going to submit them. All right, that was our starting out. In the next one, we're going to go over the pair, and then we're going to go over Yay Illustrator.